if you're a Pac-12 school right now, would you make that move at this moment if the Big 12 could make way for you, or do you sit back and wait to see where the dominoes fall with everything else?
No, I make that move right now. I know everyone's going to sit there and wait around for Notre Dame, Washington, and Oregon specifically. You might be waiting a long time. And here's the thing: if you can convince, or if you're, let's just say you're Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, and the Arizona schools, right? Those 6 teams go into the Big 12 would basically put a giant X across the entire country of Big 12 membership, from UCF when they join all the way to Washington, and then from the Arizona schools all the way to West Virginia and Cincinnati. That's a really solid conference. It's not the Big Ten, it's not the SEC, but it's better than what they have now. And in the way the landscape, I think, will evolve is that we're going to get something we've all talked about for a very long time, and that's 4 super conferences, 16 teams, 18 teams, 20 teams. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if you're talking about a situation where the Big 12 is the aggressor, they go out and get those Pac-12 teams, which I think certainly would benefit that because it would solve their biggest issue, and that's time zone. That's been the biggest problem for the Pac-12, that and the TV deal. And it solves one of those. And then on top of that, you can negotiate a TV deal with a more nationwide conference, the most nationwide conference in the country, including what the Big Ten is doing with UCLA and USC. So if you're talking about the Pac-12, you need to bail, especially if the Big 12 comes calling. Because and maybe look, maybe you put in some different outs if you're the Big 12 and a Washington and Oregon to say, all right, look, if you want to leave for the Big 10 and they offer you, fine. You know, the exit fee's a little smaller. If that's what it takes to get them there, do it, because it would be mutually beneficial for the Big 12 and any of those Pac-12 schools to create a conference that is not only sustainable, but I think can be a power. So, you know, I think a lot of folks, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of folks have said this is the death of college football, and you know, all hell's going to break loose, and there's going to be a bunch of different dominoes that fall. Okay, maybe, you know, maybe that's what happens. But for me, I think it's going to be a little less, you know, anticlimactic, so to speak. I think you're going to see, you know, the evolution of 4 super conferences, and the Pac-12 gets poached, and those teams that Dennis mentioned and others have mentioned as possibilities for the Big 12 can, will, and should jump, and we're going to have a much more streamlined sport, which